Born and bred in Tuscaloosa, not raised in Baton Rouge. Didn't ride no wagon train to Norman or to Boone. They said I'd never make it, just a name they overlook. Now I'm burning up their game plans and ripping up their books. No 5-star shine, no silver spoon. I came up grinding on the Friday night moons. Now they feel me coming like a 4th down blitz. Got 'em talking sideways, throwing fits. But I must admit, I can't quit. 'Cause I'm the outlaw of college football. Ain't no stripes can hold me back. I don't need them.
To another episode of The Outlaw of College Football, where this is the home of the Common Joe and the Common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking hits. But today we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about the Alabama versus LSU game. Usually it's one of the biggest games of the year in college football. Even people outside of the SEC love watching this game. But this year it's lost a lot of its luster. LSU's 5-3, going through a lot of turmoil. As you know, they fired just about everybody they can fire in their athletic department, from the head coach to offensive coordinator. Now they fired the athletic director, and they don't have a president right now, so they ain't got nobody overseeing this thing except for that crazy-ass Cajun governor they got down there. And, yeah, they're going through a lot of turmoil. But before we get to all that and discuss why I think Alabama better be careful and not overlook or take these guys lightly, because they could see it as a sign of disrespect too, and it could galvanize the LSU team for this game. Let's go ahead and give a huge shout out to our donors to the program this month. They've donated through, as you can see it coming across the scroll here, JPC316 on Venmo and money $sign JPC316 on Cash App. We're having to get donations this way because they demonetized my channel to December 14th for resharing Charlie Kirk TikTok videos. So in order to get around this censorship, if y'all want to help me out, donate through those two avenues. And those donors are Brad Hamby, Les Bays, Monica Shaw, and Sid Holt made donations this month, as well as double dipping this month were Richard Burton, Tammy Burton, Ryan Neese, and Aaron Blevins. And as you can see down on the bottom scroll here, those are guys that are in the Outlaw Deputy Gold Club. They've donated to the program numerous times. And now, getting right to it here, LSU and Alabama is usually a game that you wouldn't dare say that either team would be overlooking or taking the other team lightly. And but I can truly say I've seen a lot of Alabama fans that are already talking about maybe facing Oklahoma, or even further down the road playing Texas A&M in the SEC title game, which I hate, by the way, and I'll discuss that later. So I think Alabama needs to, the coaches, I hope, and this is what my biggest hope is, that during the off week, got an off week before this game, so it give the coaches a chance to sit down with these players and not only get healthy and practice, but to expound to them that, hey, LSU is a wounded tiger. Just to play on words, but they really are like a wounded tiger cornered. And right now, Alabama probably represents a game, not a game, but a season-saving game. If they beat Alabama, that would be like their Super Bowl. They're 5-3, They're probably not going to the playoffs for sure, and they may not even go to a bowl game. So beating Alabama would definitely save their season and add a little luster, and maybe where you could take something at least a little bit positive from the season. So in my opinion, Alabama needs to try to really be aware of this. And a lot of people don't realize that, it seems like it's been a common theme this year. A few coaches have been fired this year, and then that team ends up galvanizing itself and circles the wagons. UCLA, the Bruins, are a good case in point. They fired their coach, Deshaun Foster. They're 0-4 when they fired him. They had lost to New Mexico and UNLV, who are G5 schools. And then after they fire him, they turn around and win 3 games in a row, not against scrubs now, but conference competition within the Big Ten. And I've seen that a couple of other times at other programs as well this season. So it's something Alabama really needs to be aware of going into this game. And I think the main thing Alabama needs to do, and this may be a little Captain Obvious, but sometimes Captain Obvious is what you need to be, and that is come out and just jump on them. If you can get up on LSU early, if you can get up by 2 or 3 scores before halftime, more than likely they'll roll over because all the bad stuff that's been happening will start playing in their minds, and they'll be like, hey, this season's just a wash anyway. Let's just roll over in the second half. And if that happens, then you could see a big L coming LSU's way in this game. Now, another thing that I wanted to discuss was the possibility of Alabama going to the SEC title game, which is probably going to happen, much to my chagrin. I really don't want that to happen. And that's because I think these conference title games are a hindrance to both teams that go. Case in point, last year, and I was hyping this up the whole week before the game, so I felt like Nostradamus. What if somebody important gets injured in the SEC title game, and then you ain't got them for the playoffs, which now, with the 12-team playoff, the conference title games are nowhere near as important. Going to the playoff and winning the championship now is what it's all about. It's just like the NFL. You know, in the NFL, the division title winners don't play in a championship game. They just go straight to the playoffs. Whereas in college football, if you're the 2 best teams in your conference, you have to play an extra game and possibly get injured, and you don't get to rest like some of the other teams. And what's really backwards to me about it is teams like maybe Ole Miss or Vanderbilt, if they get into the 12-team playoff, they don't have to play that extra game. They get to sit back and rest, and they're fresh going into the playoff games. Carson Beck last year with Georgia is a big case in point that I was hyping up that whole week before the title game last year. So I think they need to do away with those SEC title games. And Alabama, I almost would root for Alabama to lose a second game just so we don't have to play in that game. And it would be a big economic boon for Alabama to play a home game in the middle of December in Tuscaloosa, especially for me. You know, I do a little side Ubering every once in a while, and the students go home during the holidays. But if there's a playoff game in the middle of December, guess what? These college towns are going to make some money. It's a big economic boom for whoever gets it. You get a top 4 seed, man, it's almost like a punishment because you don't get a home game. So, like I said, as crazy as it sounds, I almost wish we'd lost to South Carolina because that's a game I could stomach losing because South Carolina's not a huge rival of Alabama's. It would have been considered sort of a big upset, and then everybody could just said, well, Alabama's coming off 3 or 4 big wins, and they just overlooked South Carolina. It was a fluke loss. Whereas if you lose to one of your biggest rivals like LSU or Auburn or even a blue blood like Oklahoma, it stings a little bit more. So at this point now, you just got to win out and go to the stupid-ass SEC title game and hope that your players don't get injured. And that's my take on that. Now, I would like to get each and every one of y'all's prediction on this game. If you drop it in the comment section, let me know what you think. Do you think Alabama could be overlooking LSU? And what do you think they should do to possibly get ahead of that and remedy that? Drop it in the comment section and tell me what you think. Now, before I get out of here, I'd like to ask you guys and gals one last time, if you want to donate to the show and help me get around this censorship that YouTube has put on me to December 14th for resharing Charlie Kirk videos, it's going across the screen now. Money $ JPC316 on Cash App as well as JPC316 on Venmo. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. That's the big 4 and all absolutely free. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.